BlastMusic247.com. We're changing the industry, one artist at a time.
One, two, three, four!
Hey folks, Michael Bate from the Michael Bate Band, coming to you from Blast Music 247's Blaster Rock and Metal Podcast, episode number, it's 5 or 6, but yes, ladies and gentlemen, you are still witnessing the genesis of one of the latest podcasts into the Blast Music 247 family. Tonight's guest is someone who I consider a friend. I believe he's a Pennsylvania boy. Just like me, he is a musician through and through. So, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome to the show, Mr. Jay Luke.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, brother, man? How are you, man?
Not too bad. How's things?
Good. We finally got to do this. I know we messed around on schedules and stuff, but I finally nailed you down because you're a busy guy.
It worked out today.
Right on. Hey, so before we get into all the fun stuff, for the people who do not know you, please give an introduction. Who are you? Where you been? What you seen? What you doing, man?
Well, my name is Jay Luke. I am a Pennsylvania boy from Scranton area, Northeast PA. I've been playing music since like 2003. Got 4 solo albums out. Constantly playing shows all over the place, and that's about it. Always writing and recording and keep on keeping on, you know.
Yeah, I'll tell you, of course I follow you on Facebook, and there's always another like pictogram of some sort with a litany of tour dates for you. I mean, it's a lot. I'm always like, Jesus, man, this guy's always on the road. Is that just something that just came to you because of the music, obviously, but is that something you really dig, man? Do you like being on the road? Not everyone's for the road, man.
You know what? It's good and bad, I guess. You know, I get so used to certain things, like this weird way of life we all have as musicians. It's like, you know, if you're not an insomniac or a multitasker, it's very difficult. So, yeah, I'm used to the late nights. I'm used to no sleeping, and I'm used to, you know, just all of the nonsense that comes with it. But there's an affinity for it as well. You know, like you kind of appreciate getting able to do things that certain musicians don't get a chance to do, you know. So yeah, anytime there's a chance for a show, I usually say yes before I even think about it. And then I'm like, oh God, can I do that? Yeah. So yeah, I'm always taking what I can, because, you know, there might be a day where there's no opportunity, you know.
Yeah. No, right on. That's a great intro. Great intro to know that you're someone who's out there just, you know, working your craft, burning for your craft. So here's what I like to do. I like to go a little bit back, you know, kind of go back into the Wayback Machine a little bit, if you will, kind of see where
Sure.
you've been, kind of touch on where you are, right? And then depending upon time or whatever, we'll kind of hop in that ship and move a little forward and kind of maybe talk about, you know, where you want to go, that kind of thing. Before we go too far back, I seem to recall you posted something, and this was a couple months ago maybe, that you did a show on a boat. Was it in Lake Wallenpaupack? Because I'm a PA boy, of course.
I think they called it Wallenpaupack Creek or something like that. It was part of something called Riverfest, and and I took the gig, and they're like, oh, well, you know, you'll be on a boat. I'm like, oh wow, okay. Well, that's a first for me. And it was just like a solo show, so. And you know, and always with me, the one thing you could predict most of all is if I'm playing outside, rain every time. But it only rained for a little bit, and I persevered. But yeah, that was definitely a first.
So was there like a lot of boat? Like, where was so you were on the water? Was the audience on shore, or were they out on boats as well?
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Okay.
I guess apparently it's that like I was very unfamiliar with the area, so it seemed like it was a big thing for that weekend. But super cool though,
Okay.
regardless, you know.
Oh man. That's awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, obviously Jay is a working musician. He'll work in space, on water, maybe underground. I don't know. He just wants to play music.
You
So,
know.
hey, so let's go back in that Wayback Machine, man. I
All
like
right.
to do this. So, do you remember, and I like to phrase it this way for a reason, do you remember the first time you heard a song, heard music, but it actually meant something to you? Like you got a message or heard the message. The first time that happened may not necessarily be the first time you've heard music, but maybe the first time it actually spoke to you. Do you have a memory of that?
Wow, that is a you know I've done a lot of these things, and that's one of the best questions I've ever heard.
It's different. Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Well, when I was a kid, basically brainwashed myself with MTV and all this and that, and I realized I love the music, but like you said, maybe I clearly didn't understand what the meanings of a lot of things were.
Yeah.
And time goes by, and I remember buying this album by a band called Wasp. I don't know if you know who Wasp are.
Heck yeah, man.
Um,
They were tight, man. Yeah.
so it's kind of a weird album. It was called The Crimson Idol. It was like 91, 92, or 91. And I put it on, and it was like, it's still to this day, it's like it's the reason I write music. It just hit me in the heart so hard. And I try to measure myself up to that album like constantly. I wanted to try to be as sincere and honest, because it was
Yeah.
even for them, it was a very bizarre album, really personal and stuff. So that one was the one it's why I'm here right now. Probably
And
is
what year was that roughly?
91, 92.
91. Okay. You know what's funny is I actually worked with a couple years ago one of Wasp's producers
No way.
who was gonna do one of my songs, and we were starting the production of one of my songs, and it just it's funny, man. I mean, I would love to have worked with this guy, and but we just didn't fit. Like our vision just didn't work, man. So I had
I
a
get that.
chance to work. What an idiot am I? It's just we weren't seeing the same thing, so we just very, very, cordially and casually parted ways. What an idiot am I? But anyway, that's another podcast about
Well,
being stupid.
it's funny though. After that album kind of took over my life, I was obsessed, and I think it was like 2008 or whatever. Like my band had a chance to open up for Wasp, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is going to be the greatest day ever!" And at that time, he was canceling shows left and right, Blackie Lawless, and I'm like, "You can't cancel this one." He canceled the night before, and all this and that. So I'm praying it didn't go that way, and it did. Like he canceled the show, and I had like so many people that came from way out of town to come see it.
Oh my goodness.
So we ended up getting to headline the Wasp show, which was very cool, but man, huge letdown for me as on a personal level.
Oh my goodness. So here's someone who says they headlined the show, but it was a disappointment. That's
Well,
interesting. You wanted to
I
play
mean,
your
the
hero.
show was great, and I was
Yeah.
full of anger, and and it was a great show. But
Yeah.
on my end, the part that I was really looking forward to is talking to Blackie and telling him about the album and stuff. But
Oh my goodness. Yeah. They were always in black and gold. I remember you being a Pittsburgh boy. They were always in black and gold. I kind of identified with some of their stuff back in the late 80s and early 90s.
I know.
All right, right on. So did that kind of lead you into that sort of metal genre? Is that kind of where you all started? Is that kind of where you want to live, or do you branch out? Because I've listened to some of your songs, and they certainly are a hard rock metal feel vibe. That seems to be who you are.
Yeah, like my earliest influences would have been like geez, so I was first really starting to develop my ear, to like Van Halen and early Def Leppard and Metallica and stuff like that before Metallica were really big, and so I kind of had like a big blender of influences, and the big thing about me when I started recording was that I didn't want to be like AC/DC or the Ramones, where every song sounded the same. And no offense to those
Yeah.
guys, they're great at
There's
what
a
they do.
niche. There's a
Yeah,
niche. Yeah.
but I just wanted to be able to like, you want to do a weird acoustic song, go ahead, do it, or something out of the box, like weird tunings and stuff like that. I always felt like it was more important to me to be like a David Bowie or a Prince,
Yeah.
as far as like
Oh.
eclecticness.
Yeah, yeah. Prince is one of the guitar. I mean, Prince obviously, had a unfortunately a shortened career, but his
Yeah.
guitar playing, people just don't seem to recognize for whatever reason his guitar playing over maybe some of the antics. My
What a
Lord,
monster.
his guitar playing is insane.
Yes, one of the best.
Oh, yeah. It's funny how he doesn't get really recognized for that. Maybe being an eclectic musician in general, but not for
Yeah,
his chops, which is unfortunate. Yeah.
no doubt. No doubt.
So okay, so what year did you graduate high school?
1997.
So 97. Okay. That would have been like a post-grunge kind of era. So okay, 97. You're in your car. What kind of car did you drive? Did you have a car?
Oh my God, a Buick Skyhawk, I think it was called. Yeah, I had a
Skyhawk?
car. Yeah,
I don't
it
know
was
what a Skyhawk is.
nothing pretty to look at. Not at all.
All right, so you're cruising in the greater Scranton, Dixon City, area in 97, right? What is blasting out of your Buick Skyhawk? What is blasting out of your speakers in 97?
Geez. Well, definitely Wasp. I was still very big into Wasp. Probably Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah,
Alice in Chains.
yeah,
Megadeth. Big Megadeth fan.
yeah, Mustaine. Yeah, Mustaine.
And probably King Diamond as well. I got into King Diamond around that time. Really into
Yeah,
him.
okay.
So very eclectic. Pink
Yeah,
Floyd.
right on.
Pink Floyd.
Yeah, the Floyd, of course. Yeah, 97. Okay. So let's take a step back then. Okay, now you came back from your drive, right? You're cruising, you're listening to all your bands. Now you went up to your high school bedroom. For me, I mean, posters. I mean, I'm a little bit older than you, but posters were everything, man. My room was covered in Kiss and Rush and
Yes,
Farrah Fawcett. Farrah
exactly.
Fawcett.
Exactly.
Sorry, it was Farrah Fawcett.
Yep, yeah.
Philadelphia 76ers. But so in your high school bedroom, what were the posters that people would see walking in there?
Okay, well, you hit a serious topic. I liked sports, but no, like my sports stars were Ace Frehley and Kiss.
Yeah.
So I had the wallpapered Kiss room for a real long time. But probably around that time, I started actually branching out a little bit. I was like exclusive Kiss, like, in grade school. So, yeah, I would say, maybe some Metallica, Megadeth. I was all over the place. So anything that I could add here and there. Sometimes there'd be an autographed. The band Godsmack, I remember, came out and had an autographed
Sully, yeah.
poster of them for their first tour or something like that. And Wasp. It's funny.
Of course. That's the
They're always
theme.
they're everywhere for me. So
I
yeah.
got the theme. I got it. It's funny you mentioned Kiss, man. For me, my first album that I ever bought in my life was 1977. I saved my allowance.
Oh,
And
Love
I
Gun.
think I saved $2.75 or something like that. I think I was 8 years old, 8 or 9, 77. And I went to the store and I bought Kiss Love Gun.
Yeah.
First
good one.
record ever. Now, when a 7, 8-year-old kid brings that home to the parents, things don't go right.
Right.
They were like, what the hell is this? You know the cover. A
Oh
7
my
or
God.
8-year-old maybe shouldn't be, have that kind of suggestive material. Maybe I don't know. This is not that kind of podcast, but
That's
yeah,
funny.
that got taken away from me very quickly.
I have one. I have one to match you. I think it was second grade for me. We used to pass around cassettes, and
Yeah.
at some point, I don't know how it got around, but the album Appetite for Destruction, it wasn't out yet. It was like a bootleg. And, I was listening to all kinds of weird stuff, and I come home and I put that on. And I, at that point, had never heard anything like that. As many of the bands as I listened to, on the extreme end, that was just like the most dangerous record I'd ever heard. I remember like actually putting a cover over my head going, I'm going to get killed for listening to this. And wow, still to this day, what an incredible album. I have very fond memories of that.
Well, I know this is about you, but I'm going to share one more.
man.
So
Do it up.
summer of '87, me
Right
and all
on.
my buddies, that's my senior year, drive from Pittsburgh to Wildwood, New Jersey. As you know, that's what kids do, right?
Mhm.
And guess what was released the summer of '87?
Appetite for Destruction. Yeah.
We played that cassette until you couldn't play that cassette anymore.
Oh, yes.
And we were just fixated. So like you, I had that experience. And we were coming out of like, the hair band, of course, days. And
Right.
Appetite was just so rough and raw. And
So
just,
different.
Yeah, so different. So for even me, I mean, even though I'd been around a little bit, it was still
Yeah.
very different for us as well. And I had that same experience, man.
Yeah, I honestly, I felt like everybody was like, copying like a Motley Crue or something.
Yeah.
And then this stick of dynamite came out called Appetite for Destruction that blew away that whole that whole stagnant scene kind of is fantastic.
Now, if I remember reading correctly, one of the GNR band members is kind of a hero of yours.
Well, yeah, I can describe a pretty bizarre story. It was like, around second grade, I was absolutely obsessed with these guys. And around 2000, early 2000s, maybe 6, 7, something like that, I had a chance to open up for Steven Adler. And I was like, I love GNR, but I know he's a loose cannon. And, as much as I would love this, I turned it down. And then about a month or so later, Duff McKagan is on tour, and we had a chance to play with them. And I was like, oh my God, yes, let's do that. That's one I definitely want to do, because he was super level-headed and, by all accounts, just a really good guy. And I couldn't believe it. He was so nice. Just for a guy who was in the biggest band in the world, he was the best. I have nothing but good things to say. And that'll probably still live on as like the best night of my life. It was so great.
I remember reading somewhere that you had mentioned, something to that effect. I mean, musicians would kill for an experience like that. I mean, he was in the biggest band of the world, and not for like 5 minutes.
That debut album, they could have just quit right after that. It was so good,
Yeah, you hate when bands do that, right? A couple bands did that. I mean, for me, like Pearl Jam 10 kind of did that, and Appetite, and I'm sure there's other examples that I can't think of right now. But it's tough when bands do that, because then you're judged by that forever.
Forever. Yeah, I mean, like, geez, that's a tough one to beat for anybody. But yeah, like, I had a lot of cool chances and opportunities, and as I said with the Wasp thing, sometimes you don't want to meet your heroes, but in the case of Duff, he was incredibly cool, and like I learned a lot from him. Just that humbleness and how to deal with people and stuff.
Some other skills other than just chops. Yeah, no, I get
100%. Yeah.
Well, you know what? We've been talking a lot about music. We've been talking about some of your heroes, but what we want to do, Jay, is we would like to hear you. We want to hear one of your songs. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please welcome "You'll Never Beat the Addiction" by Jay Luke.
Draw
Wow.
Right
Intense.
on, man. Right on. Right on. So happy to see that. Not the first time I've seen that, by the way.
Awesome. Awesome.
Can I make some observations?
Please. Please.
So I have a really good habit, Jay. A great habit of comparing people to superstars. It's one of my best qualities. Trust me. It is. So when I hear that, when I first heard the first intro, I hear some Eddie Van Halen Panama. I hear some Panama on that intro.
Wow.
And
Excellent.
then the dueling, what I guess I would call the dueling guitars, the dueling harmonizing guitars. I mean, Maiden did that. They made a living out of that. Kiss did it so many times. I hear that influence in those kind of dueling guitars. And this is not the only song you do that in, as you know.
No, yeah.
And then I hear a little bit of Vince Neil in the lyrics, man. You mentioned, or in the vocals, you mentioned the Crew.
Wow.
I think I'm pretty on base. What do you think? Have you been told that before?
I hear a lot of weird things. People, it's funny too because you can't really change your voice or whatever. But a lot of people think I sound like what's his name, Bret Michaels too. And I don't like. They're two bands I'm not really into at all. So it's ironic that I keep getting told that. But influence just comes out of it. It could be anything. But
Bret, I don't know, you have a better range than Bret. I mean, Bret's not traditionally, much of a vocalist, although he's been a vocalist in his entire life. But you've
right, a lot of these, yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Oh, the Sunset Strip days.
Yeah, right.
So you mentioned that you had been kind of doing this for 20 plus years now. So who is Jay Luke musically? Have you been with the same people for 20 years? Who's on the drums? Who's playing all the parts? Who's doing that kind of stuff?
Well, when I first started, I had a band called The Mess, and it was like my favorite, it was everything to me. And we were trying to record an album, and kept losing a member, or it was always something. It was like, I always said that we were like this great car that always had a busted wheel. And so on and on it went, and it was like around 2015 or something like that, where I was like, guys, I'm putting this to bed as much as this is going to kill me, because I didn't want to release an album and then not have the right lineup. So I took the studio time and I said, I'm just going to go in and do this myself. I want to do, I'd love for it to be a band, but I'm going to do this solo. And I ended up getting a bunch of my friends and a couple of people that are like kind of heroes of mine that jumped on. And since the first album was kind of like I always call it Carlos Santana, where he had a bunch of guests. But the second album through the one I'm working on right now, it's kind of been the same lineup. The lead guitar player is incredible. He's like, he makes these songs so much better than I think they would be. His name is Michael Duds McDonald. And I have to say Duds in between, or you'll think it's the guy from the Doobie Brothers.
Doobie Brothers, Michael McDonald. So when I read one of your bios, I'm like, wait a minute, it says Michael McDonald in here.
Yeah, who knew he was a shredder?
Yeah. His vocals were shreds, but I didn't know his fingers can shred.
Yeah, but mainly it's like me and him that do most of the work. The bass player is my producer, actually, and
right
he's
on.
fantastic. So everything kind of comes together in the first session. It's always like me, recording everything, and then however it goes after that, we add everything on, and kind of organic, songwriting's kind of a different, animal all on its own. You could do it one way, and then, I keep changing the way I write.
So speaking of songwriting, so this is good. This is good to be on this side, because a lot of times I've been on your side when people ask me what my songwriting style is, and I'm a complete wreck. But now I get to ask you. I'm a complete wreck. Now I get to ask you. Tell us, how do you write songs? Do you have a process, or is it just they just come?
Well, first and foremost, like I love Van Halen, and for me, I could never write a song like Van Halen. Like to me, you could listen in the middle of winter and it's like summertime for Van Halen. You know, you roll the window down no matter what because it's like happy
Yeah.
music. And I'm very jealous of that because I'm always somebody who writes like about what's going on in my life or
Yeah.
things I observe or whatever. But it's so rare to ever grab a pen and start writing a song when I'm feeling super happy. That's like the
Yeah.
last thing I ever do. So a lot of these things are like songs that this most recent album is like the most personal album I did about just the stress of being a musician in 2024 it was when I put it out, or 2023 when I put it out. But yeah, it's a hard thing, and I really like laid it all out. Like there's no sleep, there's very little reward for all of the hard work, and unless you
Yeah.
love it, it's like you go and do something else, and it's like the odds are always against you. It's very difficult, but I love it, and it's my way of expressing myself, and um, it's sort of like therapy writing songs. So I'm never short on I don't have the writer's block that a lot of people do, but
Yeah.
yeah. So my writing style would be real life events, and as far as how I write, like I might have the lyrics first and try to
Yeah.
riff it out together, or there's that weird time where you could do them both at the same time,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. No, I hear you. It's funny you say that. I use music as my therapy, that hashtag
Yeah,
for everything, because that's exactly why I do it. The same exact reason. I
100%.
do this just to keep my shit together.
Right. And I mean, like, yeah, how I said, like, there's no reward. I guess that isn't technically true. There's,
Yeah.
you put the music out and you never know where it's going to go. But
Yeah.
when it reaches somebody and they're like, oh man, I really felt that or something. Oh, there's my $1 million. So
Yep.
I
No, I
get
hear you.
that.
So I remember reading an article years ago where a very famous musician said that songwriting was open heart surgery. You're just allowing anybody and everybody who listens a moment in time to know exactly what you're thinking, you're feeling. I mean, we've heard before, music and the sound is a sound of emotion, right? So do you have a particular emotion you like to write around? It sounds like life events, but maybe there's some darker things that have happened. Obviously, we just heard a song, You'll Never Beat the Addiction. Do you have kind of a
Yeah.
theme that you write about, or are you just kind of going to do whatever for the next songs and even the current album you're working on?
Well, the theme of the last one was basically just like what goes on through my eyes, being a musician, and that song in particular was kind of like written as the viewpoint of addiction itself, looking
Yeah.
at the addict, saying like, you're gonna lose every time,
Yep.
and uh, I feel like, especially in music, I mean, like you're always in a bar and you see people succumb to so many things, and it's sad because a lot of good friends that was like very true on for things I've seen, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. It's one of the trappings of the lifestyle. But yeah, I kind of for most albums I didn't really have a whole theme like I did for this last one. It's kind of all over the place, like you said, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed the concept album style for this last one, so I might be trying that with the new one I'm doing as well.
Okay. So when was the last album released? You said 2023.
October, yeah. Seems like it
So
was
you
like
released
40 years ago, but
Wow, so you released an entire album, and I've seen some of your catalog, but I guess I didn't realize what were songs or what were albums. You released an entire album October 23, which is only, I don't know, 7 or 8 months ago.
yeah.
When's your next one going to be released?
Well, I would love to say this year, but I don't think that's a possibility.
Okay,
I might get a single out this year.
okay,
But
that's
I'm like,
ambitious.
yeah, I'm two songs into it already, and honestly, like after that last one, I was like, I felt like I gave birth to all of the ideas I had, kind of, and I'm like trying to figure out a new direction. It took me a while, but I think I'm
Um,
on to something now, and
Good,
we'll
good.
see how it goes. But yeah, that isn't that funny though. Like when you think about our heroes and stuff like that, like they'd put an album out and go on tour, and sometimes it would take them a couple of years to make the next album. Unless you were Kiss, '70s Kiss,
Yes,
man, they were killing it.
crank it
Two albums a year,
up.
2 albums a year every year
Crank it
and
up.
then they put out four, the one year. So um, that's very rare. But yeah, like I said, it was only in October, but it feels like it's a lifetime because that's the
Yeah.
way things are these days.
Oh, it's good to see you're still moving forward. So, again, we talking about the future a little bit, but let's go a little bit back in the past. We are going to listen to, of course, another song from Mr. J. Luke. This one is called "Me and My Demons."
I've been awake for days, lost in a foggy haze. I search for answers, search for reasons. Regrets a heavy chain, it's left me tied to blame. I'm losing time, I'm losing seasons. I carry these bridges in my eyes. I sleepwalk blind to the sunrise. I dissemble while the world is sleeping. It's only me and my demons, an endless dark. I dream of dreaming. It's only me and my demons. The question marks, they leave me screaming. It's only me and my demons. I toss and turn away. I'm trapped in yesterday. Inside me, and every breathing. There's forces in my brain. I feel like gone insane. Reality can be deceiving. I carry these prisons in my eyes. I sleepwalk blind to the sunrise. I dissemble while the world is sleeping. It's only me and my demons, an endless dark. I dream of dreaming. It's only me and my demons. The question marks, they leave me screaming. It's only me and my demons. While the world is sleeping, it's only me and my demons, an endless dark. I dream of dreaming. It's only me and my demons. The question marks, they leave me screaming. It's only me and my demons.
Come on, man. Come on. Dude, you and the boys got on the horse from bar one and never got off.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That's a good one.
Dude, that's the one I was kind of alluding to earlier, where I've heard that you like that dueling guitar, harmonizing guitar, whatever word we want to use. I just
Yeah.
love that style. It's such a metal style, and some of your heroes, that you'd mentioned,
Yeah.
Kiss, of course, they did that. So that's what kind of drew me to that. Is that something that you just is part of your style, you think now? I mean, I haven't heard your entire catalog. Is that in other songs as well?
I mean, it's not every song, but
Mhm.
a lot of it, it comes down to if the lead player's into it, and
Yeah.
where his direction is. It's like I almost like present him these songs, and his output would be, or input, whatever it would be,
Yeah.
kind of dictates where we're gonna go with that kind of stuff. But yeah, I loved where it went on that one. It was like it was very funny because like the album itself, most times when you're writing, you kind of have a solid idea, and I think with the most recent one, I was writing songs so close to studio time that they were super fresh, So they were, like basically like real time things. And I was gonna call it "Winging It," and then I came up with that song and that title, and I'm like, oh man, me and my demons, I got to use this. This is the one, and it became the title track, and probably the biggest winner on the album, I think. We'll see.
Yeah, no, that one absolutely rocks. Now, is everything done like locally in the greater Scranton area, or do you guys go elsewhere to record or mix, master, or whatever? Like, where's the
Yeah,
production happening?
it's all in the same place. The town is called Oliphant, and it's the studio is called JL Studios, and it's fantastic. I do all my stuff there, and it's like all in one shop, kind of. So
So you can get recording, mixing, mastering, producing the whole thing. Oh, that's great, man. You could have one like all encompassing in-house.
yeah, it's very
Orchestration. Yeah,
convenient.
that's good.
Yeah, and if I work like hard enough, usually like per session, I'll kind of get like 75% of the song done. And then, the lead guitarist, Mike, will come in and usually within like 2 or 3, we'll at least have a song pretty much all the way done with, mixing and everything. So it's pretty cool.
Okay. So you're no stranger, obviously, to releasing albums. I mean, you've done it. You're doing it as we speak, I guess. Tell me one thing you really dig about doing the album concept as opposed to singles, but tell me what's the biggest challenge from putting together a whole album?
Well, I guess, the way you and I grew up, the album was everything.
Yeah,
A lot of
everything.
times, especially like Kiss or even Iron Maiden, like they're the two big ones that, when they put an album out, I would hold that album and like look at it like it was going to do a
Open it up.
trick, kind of. And so the artwork was just as important to me as the album itself, kind of. And so I was, I'm very hurt as both an artist, like a graphic designer, and a musician, that like all we get is a little thumbnail now,
I know it's
and
this big.
and a lot of people don't listen to the whole album, so I know that we're in the single world, and it's frustrating, but I will not stop making albums. I think that especially for my last album, it told a story, so it's like the
Yeah.
whole, each song is a chapter of a book, kind of.
Yeah.
So that's obviously necessary if you're doing that kind of thing. But I do release singles like beforehand, before putting the album out. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like a lot of people tell you to every 3 months or something to put a single out, and it's
There's different strategies. Yeah.
yeah, there's no formula for success, I guess. I mean, it's all like the lotto. We're all playing it,
Yeah.
So
Well, it's working for you. I wouldn't change a damn thing.
I'm
You
trying
did a
to
gig
just
on a boat, brother. You did a gig on a boat.
I'm trying to just roll with it.
So, would you ever consider a cover song? And if so, what do you think you'd ever try to attempt? Cover songs scare the shit out of me, by the way, number one. But I'm asking you, would you consider one? And if so, do you have an idea of maybe one that you tried?
You know what? There's, I would probably try to avoid the bigger ones. Like my personal favorite band is a band called Hanoi Rocks, and
Yeah.
I'd probably do one of their songs, I think, if I were to do anything. That or God, I don't know. Every so often, I hear a song that's so random, and I'm like, man, that's a good one. And I was
Yeah.
listening to the band Heart, actually,
Oh, love Heart.
last week or so, and man, some great songs, like obscure ones that you wouldn't know. And I was thinking like something like that. But for the meantime, I'm trying to keep it all my own for the stuff I'm releasing.
Yeah, I know people do it. People like it. It scares me, man. I don't know I'm not good enough to know what the balance is. A cover, obviously you have to know you have to pay homage to the original, or no one knows it's a cover. But then you're not that person either. So there's got to be some of you. And I don't know what the balance is. And you've heard so many cover songs blew away the original, or so many cover songs did not do the
thumbs
original.
down. That is a tough one. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the reason I didn't do stuff like that, because you either, like you said, you either kind of make it your own, or you make it an
Yeah.
exact copy. And I'm not really sure I'm ready to make anything my own that I really like.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is what it is. And it's funny because, like, a lot of our heroes are doing that same thing right now. Ace Frehley, geez, I think he has like 3 albums called Origins, and they're all cover songs. And it's kind of funny because I looked up to him more than almost anybody.
Yeah, I kind of lost Ace a little bit over the years. I mean,
Me
Kiss
too.
obviously
Oh.
has done their farewell. I
Yeah.
got to find him again. I mean, I grew up. So whenever we painted all the people, I was Ace. So I was always Ace
Right.
growing up. Other
Right.
kid was Paul. I was always Ace. That was my character.
Right on. Can't go wrong. He's the best.
Oh, just incredible. And I love how it's funny. I've seen so many videos from him where he is genuinely freaked out by people being freaked out by him. Like,
Right.
it's like a sickness. He does not understand why people think he is something. And to us, we're like, well, why don't you get that?
Right. I always found it funny, like the guitar player Dimebag Darrell.
Yeah.
He was obsessed. He had tattoos or whatever, and that had to be very bizarre because Ace is probably like, who is this guy? And then when he found out who he was probably even more like, wow, Jesus, because he influenced so many people, and I don't think he ever really thought he was doing that, and that's kind of his charm, I guess.
Yeah. It's a great trait to have. So we talked about kind of growing up a little bit, and music and albums. So obviously you've been making music for 20 plus years, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you like today? What do you like about the music biz, and what just don't you like? I know you mentioned the singles, but there's got to be something else. What don't you like, and what do you like about the music biz today as opposed to when you started 20 plus years ago?
Well, my aim always was, I guess, I had two goals, I guess. One was to make my own album, and the second goal was to make a ton of money from playing music. And the way time has gone, that one goal of making the album, everyone in the world could make an album right now. You could make it literally like as fast as we're talking, like with AI and all that. But the real challenge, I mean, so there's the one thing I love about music right now is everybody could make it, and it's the roadblocks of the people at record labels and stuff trying to stiff you over. It don't happen too much these days because they don't really have a ton of power, but there's still some. But at the same time, that regulation that they did have was a lot more helpful as far as making the money that you want to make a ton of money. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, I guess. Like you could make an album now and somebody in Australia will hear it instantly, and it's super cool because you never know where your audience is. It's mostly for me, it's overseas.
Yeah.
And the downside is that even if I have like, I don't know, 400,000 streams, and you'd think that it would amount to a lot of money, but not really at all. It's so crazy. Like I could pay a bill here and there, but Ferraris and houses are a long way away.
Yeah, that's
So,
the downside. If you sold 400,000 singles,
right.
that'd be $400,000. Roughly $1 a single. Plus,
Sure.
once you get all the points and get down to you're still making tens of thousands of dollars. That's not the case with streaming.
No.
That's part of the dark side.
Yeah,
That everyone kind of knows, unfortunately. That's probably the biggest change.
Yeah, and I remember knowing I was doomed when I don't know if it was AC/DC or Pink Floyd. They sold their catalog to Spotify, and they got like 5,000. It was like some ridiculous payout, like $5,000 or something. And I'm thinking, wow, if that's what they got, I'm screwed. I better really love this music thing or I'm dead.
Well, thank goodness that you are not dejected, because we do want to hear more music from Jay Luke. So we're going to take one more break. We're going to play your last song. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome I Just Want to Go Home from Jay Luke.
I just got to leave, I'm afraid I must be going. Say your politics, don't wear your crucifix, 'cause I just wanna go home. When common sense is a crime, I must be losing my mind. I just wanna go home. When the kid with the gun says you all better run, I hope that I make it home. Hello, I must be going, 'cause this violence is ongoing. Don't take it to heart, but I must depart. I'm afraid I must be going.
Love that fill at the end, man. Right on. So, dude, I heard Billy Idol.
Right on. That's
Am I
cool.
wrong?
No, I love Billy Idol, so yeah, that's cool. I feel it.
Yeah. Tell me about that tune. What's that tune all about? Tell me about that one.
That is actually the start of the album. I guess, like we said, you get older and whatnot. I was always the guy that never wanted to go home. I always wanted to be at the party all the time. And, sometimes just playing so many shows, trying to, around people you have nothing in common with. And it drains the hell out of you. So I just sometimes feel like there's a line in there where it's like the party was a bore before I opened the door. And
Yes.
I feel that to my bone. It's like, you walk into a place and you're like, oh, I just literally can't wait to leave. And yeah, it's kind of about that. You just kind of you're so used to a certain lifestyle and stuff, and then you go to some place and you're like, oh God, I just can't wait to leave. And yeah, that's the anthem of introverts, I guess. Or
Oh,
whatever.
right on. Oh, right on. Yeah, up in your room, just playing music.
Yeah, just get me the hell out of here. I got to get out of here.
Oh my gosh, I hear you. No, understood. Awesome. That was your third and final song. So maybe, we took the ship. We talked a little bit about the past, the present, talked about your new album you're working on right now. It's going to maybe a single this year, maybe the album next year. So now time kind of for our descent a little bit. So any kind of like last messages, where could folks find you? Is there anything upcoming, any big shows you want to promote since you got, a few minutes left? Anything coming up you want to talk about?
I'm usually doing one or two a week now. So the best way for to keep up with me is probably, I think I'm most active on Facebook, but I do have Twitter or X, whatever the hell it's called, Instagram, and I've not ventured into TikTok because I still feel like that's for kids, but I know it's not. Everybody seems to be using it these days. But basically the best way to find me is just Google J Luke, and you'll see all the streaming platforms and whatnot. But yeah, I try to stay active, and I'm actually working on a new video. It'd be the final video for this album, so I could get onto the new one. But yeah, I'm always working. So
A video for a particular song off the album.
yeah, it's a song called Malice in Wonderland.
I see what you did. Right on, man.
So
I see. I see what you did. Awesome, man. Well, we can't wait to hear that new album. I mean, I'm a fan, brother. I love the videos. I love everything you're doing. Stay you. Do not change.